Listen up, hockey fans. You're in the right place. A no-hold-barred debate between two hockey fans. Stay up to date on current issues in the NHL, even the controversial ones. Welcome to The Debate Hockey Podcast with your host, Brad Burud.
Pass line, off the skate of heaven. Here goes Gaudreau. Johnny Gaudreau, right in, scores!
It's time for another edition of the Debate Hockey Podcast, episode 45. It is December 21st, 2018. I am Brad Burud, your host, joined alongside my co-host each and every week, Blake Frairs, and we are remote tonight. We usually do this face-to-face, side-by-side. Blake is back in the great land of Canada for Christmas holidays, and so we're doing this little remote, so...
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how Zoom produces. You know, we had some problems with Skype in the past, so hopefully this works better. In 4 days till Christmas, I can't wait.
It is. It's a busy time of year. Tell you this week I was completely under the weather. We usually produce our podcasts on Monday and Tuesday nights, and we're running a little late because of illness and because of the holidays, which is fine, Blake. We're just entering the Christmas break, and Christmas is definitely in the air. We got snow flying, and we're right there, ready to open some gifts here soon.
Can't wait till Saturday. My Canucks are going to pound your Flames on Hockey Night in Canada. I'm going to be there.
Yeah, I know you get to go, and that's great. But I wouldn't count on a.
Oh man, I just hope
soon.
I just hope the Canucks score a damn goal. I mean, I've gone to the last 4 Canucks games I've gone to, they scored 0 goals in all 4 of them. So it's hopefully they turn around for me when I'm there on Saturday.
It's actually been a really interesting week in the National Hockey League with lots of different things going on, and boy, some heated rivalries, some heated games, and some bad blood.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's hockey's the rivalries picked up a little bit. You know, I feel. Don't you feel like the hate has picked up ever since John Tortorella's comments? Like, do you feel like there's been a little bit more hatred? I
didn't know if it was his comments or if it was you. I mean, you've been complaining about it, so maybe everybody was listening to you, Blake. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm right most of the time. I like to think that, so we'll see.
Oh, you think you're right most of the time? Yeah, that's an understatement. I do. I agree, though, Blake. I do think things have heated up. I think bad blood has been amped up. I also think that there's been a lot better play in the league in the last couple of weeks. Some great goals, some great individual performances, and you know what? Some really good team performances. That Tampa Bay Calgary game.
Yeah, that was
last night was out of this world as far as a game in December. It reminded me of a first round matchup.
You know, that I honestly, if the cards fall Calgary's way in the playoffs, I wouldn't be surprised if that's a cup matchup. I mean, you know what I mean? A lot of stuff has to go right for Calgary in the playoffs.
A lot has to go right for Tampa Bay too. Both are very good hockey teams.
I mean, that would be an exciting matchup to see in June for sure.
We know we'd see a lot of top-end talent. They were joking as overtime started, and they said, boy, I wish these coaches would send some talent out to start the overtime. And they were joking. It was hilarious. You got Gaudreau, Monahan, and Giordano for the Flames, and you got, I think,
Kucherov, Point, and Hedman.
Yeah, I mean, that's some top-end talent. And, boy, they didn't disappoint with 2-on-1s back and forth and just shot after shot. And both goaltenders were just
Louis Domingue was unbelievable in the shootout. He had a couple of huge saves in the shootout. The one off of Janikowski. I thought Janikowski had him beat clearly, and he robbed him with the right pad. And you know, it was a great game. It's too bad that a shootout had to ruin such a great game like that. But you know, that's the way it is, and you win some, you lose some, right?
It was a lot of fun to watch. It was definitely some top-end hockey. It is Christmas time. We're hoping everybody gets some Christmas money and things like that. When you do, you got to hop on coolhockey.com, check out their jerseys, pick yourself out a player. When you go to checkout, push inside 20, get yourself 20% off. Jersey of the week this week, I can't believe we haven't made this guy jersey the week before.
Jack Eichel?
No. Lighting up the league, leads it with 58 points. Mikko Rantanen.
Oh,
Boy,
yeah.
is this guy underrated still? I still feel he's an underrated player.
Oh, well, I don't think you can be underrated when you have 56 points. I mean,
58 points, but he just doesn't. He doesn't get the press.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's under the shadows of Nathan McKinnon, right? So, I mean, I think the team is obviously still Nathan McKinnon's, but Rantanen's such a great complement player for him.
Well, check out coolhockey.com. Get yourself a Mikko Rantanen jersey, and make sure you get your 20% off by typing inside 20. We thank coolhockey.com for the sponsorship this year.
Coolhockey.com, the coolest website on the planet.
All right, Blake, time to get into the heart of the show, and let's start off with I don't even know how to describe it, the debacle that we have going in Philly with the firing first of Ron Hextall, the general manager, then now 2 weeks after that, the firing of Coach Dave Hakstol.
Hey, first I'll just say I wasn't surprised that Hakstol got fired.
No, me either.
I was just really shocked at how they went about it. I mean,
it was Bush League.
There was reports that he was going to be fired right after the Vancouver game on Saturday. And then there was reports that he was fired Sunday morning. Coach Joe Quenneville is the new coach, and NBC was tweeting it. I'm like, holy, like this has got to be real if all these outlets are tweeting it, and makes me believe that maybe somebody in the Flyers organization is maybe talking and spilling the beans a little bit too soon there. But I just don't think Hakstol was given fair treatment at all.
No one deserves to be treated that way. Let's face it.
No.
With the way and the timing of it, Elliot Friedman reported that they basically were on an airplane.
Yeah.
When it was released, so he's sitting within a couple rows of the general manager, and like, how Bush League is that? Is that not classic Philly though? I mean,
it kind of is, but
let's
and
be
then
professional.
At that point, Hakstol is going, okay, like, is this true? Am I fired? And of course, the next day he gets fired. You have to fire him. You can't say, oh yeah, we're going to bring Coach Quenneville in and say, actually, we're going to keep you around for a couple more games. Well, he had to be fired on Monday, and it's just, he's a good coach. I like Hakstol. I mean, he didn't really get a fair shot in Philly. I mean, the team won 10 straight games last year, and he was put in a tough position. When you don't have a goaltender, you're not going to win very many hockey games.
So who is their last opponent? Was it Vancouver before he was fired?
Yeah, Vancouver. Okay. They lost.
So did you? This is something that I noticed, and I'm not the only one that saw this and thought it was odd. Mm-hmm. But they announced that the starter for that night was going to be Lyon.
Yeah, no, yeah.
They Philadelphia tweeted that.
Yeah.
And then a short time later, that tweet was deleted.
Yeah.
And it was announced that Stolarz was going to be starting.
Yeah,
now,
and then Vancouver's...
You know what that tells me, and I'm only speculated, and people can call me crazy, whatever, I don't care, but I think there's validity to it.
There's a lack of communication.
I think Hakstol named Lyon as a starter, and someone made him change.
You think so?
I think that he was being told what he can do and can't do, and
okay,
I think
but
that
listen,
sucks.
So Stolarz gets pulled after 2 goals with an undisclosed injury.
Yeah, undisclosed injury, my ass.
You know what I mean? That's a little fishy again. I don't know. It's tough. It's a mess. And then they take it and they go and say that Quenneville is going to be hired. Yeah,
that's so far from being the truth.
Oh, but if you're Quenneville, do you even want to go coach the Flyers? I don't.
Hell no.
No, you're looking at that goaltending situation in the back end is so thin. It's unfortunate because, don't get me wrong, the Flyers have such a great core up front. They got Voracek, Giroux, Couturier, JVR. They got all these big names up front, and they just got no goaltender. They haven't had a goaltender since Ron Hextall, dude.
You know what, though? They have all this talent on paper, though. But this team, they do. They have a lot of guys that could play the game of hockey really, really well. And I honestly love their young defensive core.
Yeah, they got Provorov, Gossesphere. Like they're not a bad hockey team.
But they don't work hard. They don't work hard. They don't play well together. And they just, I don't know, the whole thing just stunk. It just,
does Quenneville maybe revisit with the Flyers in the offseason? Who knows? Who knows? But for them to throw Coach Q right in like that false statement, that is classic Flyers. And then they call up Carter Hart at age 20, like he's a necessity.
Let's talk about that. First of all, let's let everybody know that Scott Gordon is the interim coach. What do you feel if you're Scott Gordon?
Well, you got nothing to lose.
No.
You got absolutely nothing to lose. But he's put in a tough spot, man. I don't know. He got put in a really tough spot.
So you mentioned it. The young Carter Hart is called up, and I have mixed feelings on this. If they would have brought Carter Hart up at the beginning of the season, I would have probably been good with it. I'm not one of those guys that thinks a goalie has to season till he's 23 in the minors. I don't believe in that.
Well,
this is a young game, and Young's taken over. And what if they said that about Elias Pettersson, Brock Besser, Matthew Tkachuk? I mean, let's face it, it's a young league. Why can't goaltenders get right into the fire right away and give it a go?
You see, but the thing about that is, Brad, young goaltenders, they tend to take longer because mentally it is a huge step from the AHL to the NHL. And
so let me ask you this: name the last goalie that was young that a team that gave a true shot.
I'd have to say Corey Schneider probably.
How'd that work?
Well, they traded him, but I mean, he was good.
Traded him, but he was really good.
Yeah,
they traded him.
Yeah,
like I just don't understand why we're willing to throw out an 18-year-old defenseman, but we're not willing to give a 22-year-old or 21-year-old goalie a shot.
He's 20.
Okay,
he just
so 20. Now, I totally disagree the timing of this, and I know he's come up, and I know he's played really well. He's picked up, is it 2 or 3 wins now, Blake?
He's 2-0 with 3 goals against.
And he's done very, very well. And I think I give him all the credit in the world. But I don't.
Nashville in regulation.
But it's not fair for him to come up when the team is in a total shit spin.
No, that's what I said. They brought him up as a necessity. They needed to call a goalie up, and unfortunately he got thrown into the fire. And I think he's responded well. I mean, he played well under pressure in the World Juniors last year with Team Canada, and I think he's a guy that's built for moments like this. And I think he's gonna give Philadelphia Flyers some stability in the crease, and we'll see what Jeff Fletcher does with his next move.
So let me ask you this question: if you feel that it's not a good decision to have young goalies playing at that age,
well, I feel.
Let's say if Carter,
if you're good enough to play, you call you up. Like it's that.
No, and that's exactly the way I feel too. But let's say now Carter Hart has a very good year.
Mm-hmm. In the NHL or the AHL?
In the NHL. Let's say he stays up the rest of the year and he's over 500.
Okay. Well, okay.
With a better than average goals against and save percentage.
Mm-hmm.
Do we see trends in the National Hockey League start to change where maybe organizations will it's a follow me league. It's a follow me league.
It depends where the organization is, in the standings, where they're at with whether or not they're in a rebuild. I don't think Philadelphia is in a rebuild, so to say. Like I said, I think they got a good enough team if they have a good goalie, I think they have a chance to make wild card. Like they got a good team up front, and they got three good D-men on the back end.
So if Carter Hart succeeds and
Mhm.
and does well,
Mm-hmm.
what message does that send to the guys sitting in the nice big blue chairs in Vancouver about Thatcher Demko?
Yeah, well, you see, Thatcher Demko, he sustained a concussion in preseason, and he was out until almost mid-November. He didn't start his first game this season until mid-November, so that's a huge setback for a goaltender. Your timing's off. It takes a long, like, you can practice all you want. You can practice all you want as a goaltender, but practicing does not get you into game shape. I'll tell you that right now. That it just doesn't. It takes a longer road to get your timing back and get in game shape. And I still think Thatcher Demko is going to be called up by the Vancouver Canucks after Christmas. I think they're going to give him some games.
How do you do that though? Because Vancouver's goaltending isn't.
Because Anders Nielsen hasn't won since October.
Well, what about Markstrom?
Markstrom's 6-0 with a 1.67 goals against and like a 9.67 save percentage. He's won his last 6 starts, and Vancouver's fine in net right now, but you can't start Markstrom every damn game.
No, but I think it's better to run him and plug Nielsen in as you can, and let Thatcher Demko.
They have to
learn a little bit.
They have to bring. He was the
because
second
let's
best
face it.
He was the second best goaltender in the AHL last year, Brad.
I know, but let's face it. If Philly didn't need Carter Hart right now as a savior boy, he wouldn't be up.
No, Philadelphia, what they did is they called up Carter Hart and saw a chance that you can possibly get a lightning in the bottle. Yes. That's all it is, right?
Yep.
And
I think
the spark and get some going.
I think he's going to do well. I do. I think he's going to do very, very well. And I think we're going to start seeing trends where goalies are going to start getting chances earlier in their career. I do. I really think.
Especially goalies that are drafted in the first round.
I don't care about that. I don't.
Because think about it. If you're drafted in the first and second round and you're not in the NHL in the first 2 years, maybe 3 years, you get kind of thrown into the bust label.
Yeah,
like Thatcher Demko.
I don't disagree.
Thatcher Demko was drafted in 2014 and has only played one game.
I'm okay with that.
I am too, because the Canucks aren't in a position to do anything right now. We're still rebuilding.
No. So let's talk about a topic that, quite honestly, I don't even know what the hell to say, but Patrik Berglund out in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Leaves $12 million on the table, clears unconditional waivers. The Sabres are off the hook, and he's history.
He's a free agent, yeah.
How does that happen? Who does that? Why do you walk away from $12 million? And you know what? My biggest question is, why is the National Hockey League Players Association okay with that? And is something more going to come of it?
I just feel like Patrik Berglund just lost the love for the game. I mean, that does happen sometimes, Brad, if you believe it or not. I mean, it's happened in the NFL. People just, sometimes one day Berglund probably woke up one day and said, I really don't want to play hockey anymore. It's, he's $30
million.
He doesn't. Oh man, he's got a lot of money already, dude. He don't need money. I mean, would I leave $12 million on the table? Probably not. But I mean, I just think he just lost the love for the game, and and when that happens, you're not having fun playing hockey anymore, and it's not worth the grind to practice every day and play in those games. I guess I don't know. Berglund
came over and was acquired
He was in the O'Reilly trade.
He was part of the O'Reilly trade that sent O'Reilly to St. Louis. Berglund to Buffalo. Troubled start, had difficulty sticking in the lineup.
They only had 4 points in
tumultuous.
23 games.
Yeah, very quiet. I can't help believe there is so much more to this story. And I don't know, maybe we will never find out.
Yeah.
But I can't help but believe there's just not a lot more to this.
Yeah, it's tough to say. You know, we really won't know any answers until Patrik Berglund himself speaks out and gives some reasons to the media, and he might not even do that, Brad. Who knows? I'm not sure.
No, we may never know. Let's roll into a barrage of different topics.
Mm-hmm.
I got probably 10 things written down here, and we'll roll through them quickly. And is the Pacific Division now pretty good?
Calgary's rolling. Edmonton's back on track. Vancouver's won 6 out of 8, and San Jose's good. And all of a sudden, now you got 4 really good teams in the Pacific.
And Anaheim's no slouch anymore either.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, 5, I should say. You got 5 teams that are rolling right now, and
they're actually holding 2 of the spots in the Western Conference wildcard. Who would have guessed that?
Yeah, no, and Vancouver's knocking on the door. They're 1 point out of a playoff spot, and you know. That still shocks me, though, because Vancouver went through a stretch where they lost 12 of 14 games. There's no reason they should be 1 point out of a playoff spot. No way.
It's not just in the Pacific Division.
But the thing is,
the whole West. Everybody beats everybody.
Yeah, the Pacific
Everybody
Division
does.
beats up on each other, yeah.
They all do. And you know what? The Central is even beating up on each other, with the exception of a couple teams at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and same in the Pacific. Arizona's not really beating up on anybody, and you know, and heck, look at Vegas. Vegas is in a playoff spot now.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of teams.
Yeah, no, there's it's gotten a lot interesting the last 2 weeks.
It's really funny how 2 weeks can change so much in the National Hockey League. Next topic I want to talk about. What did you think of the Wilson-Oleksiak fight?
I liked it. I liked that Wilson, both of them, Oleksiak answered the bell, and, you know, they tried to fight last year, or was it last year, maybe 2 years ago in the playoffs, and Wilson didn't want to go. And Oleksiak and, you know, Wilson, you know, I respect Wilson for not punching him after he knocked him out, because that was it was a good punch. You know, he caught him with the good clean punch, and, you know, caught him in the wrong spot. And it was good that he didn't, like, jump on him after that, which was good. But, you know, you never like to see a player get a concussion from a fight, and that's what they're trying to cut down on. So, yeah, fighting still does belong in the game, though.
One of the things that scared me a little bit on that fight, and I'm with you. I still like the good odd fight. I don't like staged fights like that one was, or I
don't think that one was staged, though, because Oleksiak did run at one of the Caps players in the first shift of the game, and Wilson went after him.
It was going to happen whether he did that or not. That's what I'm getting at. But I thought I was fine with the fight. I was fine with the way Wilson handled it. I was glad that he was respectful and stuck with the code. What scared me the most, though, is when Oleksiak got up and almost the way he reacted to the official, like it was the official that he was fighting. Did you see him kind of stutter and put his fists up like the fight was still going?
Yeah,
that was a little scary, because I mean, he's obviously hurt it in a bad way to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on to the next thing. Yaroslav Halak, is he the new starter in Boston?
I told you. I called this at
the beginning of the year.
I'm pretty sure we both did. We
did. If you look at the Inside Edge Hockey News radio show,
yeah,
I called it in my 10 crazy predictions that he would by Christmas be the starter.
Yeah, you did that, and then you asked me in the 20 question segment.
I did.
Yeah, which starter, which backup will win the job, and I think Halak has won the job. He's been unbelievable lately, and Boston is on the outside looking in right now, and they need to string wins together. And that's a tough division. I mean, when you got the top dogs in that division, like with the likes of Toronto and Tampa Bay, it's going to be a tough division to be successful in. And don't count Florida out yet. Don't count Florida out yet.
Really? They're done.
Listen. It's December. That is a good hockey team. That is a good hockey team. They got blown out of the water last night by Toronto, but I mean, Toronto does that to a lot of teams. But them missing Trocheck is a huge blow. But Barkov, don't sleep on Barkov, man.
I think Barkov's a top 10 player in the league.
If Luongo can steal some games, they might maybe find their way into a wild card spot. Who knows? But I wouldn't write them off just yet.
That team has so many problems that are God.
They're so fun to watch, though. That's a fun team to watch.
Yeah, because they're all over the place.
Fun team to watch. Yeah.
Let's talk Toronto Maple Leafs for just a moment. I know we try to shun and not want to talk about them because they're talked about on every stinking radio show out there. But William Nylander, what are your thoughts on his performance thus far?
Well, he hasn't been performing at all, but to me, he's flying under the radar because the Toronto Maple Leafs have 13 goals for in the last 2 hockey games. So Matthews is scoring, Tavares is scoring, Kadri's scoring, right?
Yep. Oh yeah.
So if they're scoring, they're not worrying about Nylander. They're still winning hockey games. But
I'm not saying that at all. All I'm saying that is, and here's my point, and here's why I'm asking the question.
Yep.
I think this is a classic example, and we saw it in Calgary a couple years ago with Johnny Gaudreau, of how if you don't prepare and you're not in training camp, things just don't go real smoothly when you come back.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. You know, it's when you missed almost 2 months, 2.5 months, and you're not in games like I mentioned with the goaltender coming off an injury. It's the same thing when you have a holdout for a contract. It's tough to get back into game shape. You can practice all you want, but I mean, if you're not playing games, it's pretty tough.
Kyle Dubas. Well, let's talk about Matthews. You mentioned him, and let's talk about his goal pace that he is on. What's your thoughts there, Blake?
Oh, the guy's missed 15 games, and he's still on pace. He's still on pace just to get 67 goals. It's absolutely ridiculous the pace he's on right now, and it seems like every time he plays, he gets 2 goals a game. It's pretty absurd.
Kyle Dubas went on record this week and said, I spend 0% of my time worrying about offer sheets.
That's bullshit. That's a lie.
I completely agree.
That's 100% bluff.
And you know what else? Okay, I thought a lot about this the other night. I was laying there and I was thinking about.
And he says, we have the cap situation for any threats. Okay, if Arizona throws $15 at Austin Matthews,
$15 million. You mean?
Yeah, that's what I said. You're not. What do you mean that's not a threat? Are you serious? Of course, that's a threat.
It could happen.
Dude. They have
and
to
you know
sign
what?
them.
Okay, let me ask you a question. If you're another general manager, okay, let's say me and you are general managers, and you spout off one night and say, I have 0 worries and I spend 0 time thinking about it. I'm going to sit in my office and go, This guy's sure talking tough. Let's see how tough he is.
Honestly, if I was a GM in the league, I had cap, 100% I would throw it off sheet of Matthews or Marner.
I think we're going to start seeing more offer sheets.
Well, look at all the RFAs. Look at all the RFAs this year. They're free agents.
You know what? Our summer shows this year are going to be top notch.
Yeah, no, they are. And the Nylander contract, might have screwed every single GM in the league.
We've got a ton to talk about this summer because there is big guys. Bessa, Line,
Braden Point.
Braden Point. I mean, there's
Matthews, Marner. Yeah, no, there's
like
a lot.
10 of them.
Yeah, no, there's
top end talent.
Yeah,
it's going to be out of this world.
Yep.
Another question for you. I'm not. This isn't our 3 question segment. I'm just throwing out topics to talk.
Sure.
Ken Hitchcock.
Look, as an opposition coach, you target key players, and that's what you do. And you figure out where you can negate them, where you can discourage them, and that's your job. But as a coach who has an elite player, your job is to protect that player. And I've always, and not in a derogatory manner, but I've always considered referees just to be wallpaper, and they're just part of the fabric of the game. And for me, I also feel like my job is to protect my players. That's my job. And when I feel like a player isn't being able to exploit his skills legally, then I get mad. And it's no different than what they did to Zubov or what they did to Modano or any of these guys. It's the same feeling I have, is that's my job. And it meant, I meant nothing derogatory towards the referees at all, but my job is to make sure that I protect my players in a proper manner. You know, if they're just lying on the ice or they're whining and crying and not much is happening, I don't have any sympathy for a player on my own team that acts and behaves like that. But when I believe that the player is trying to fight through what I see, then I got to protect him, and that's what I did.
Complained about treatment of McDavid by officials.
No, I don't buy that. What? That's like saying, "Oh, you can't shut down our best player." And it was after the Vancouver game. I watched the whole game. Horvat played. He was on him. He was in his back pocket all game. He wasn't whacking him. He wasn't holding him. And like that's just trying to get calls for your player.
Well,
I understand that, but
I think it is classic. Oh, I'm not buying it either. And I think if we had Hitch on the line with us, he would say that he's not buying it either. I honestly believe that this is a strategic comment to influence officials' calls in the future. The guy's a genius. He knows what he's saying, and I don't doubt that damn statements don't work.
Oh, no, for sure. And it puts confidence in your players when they know your coach has got your back. It's the same thing in the NBA when a player's not getting fouled. You know, the coach sticks up for him, right? That goes for any sport. If players aren't getting penalized, you know, for mistreatment of your star players, sometimes the coach has got to take a fine to criticize the refs to get the refs on notice. And I think players are all for that, and they'll appreciate that 100% of the time.
We are in the holiday season. It's a time to talk positive, and we've been pretty positive this whole show. Mm-hmm. I don't think me and you have yelled at each other once, so that's
well, it is also 11:30. Some people are sleeping in here, so can't be too loud.
So my question is, knowing that it's a Christmas season, what is your biggest positive surprise in the Eastern and Western Conference as we talk about teams? Who's your biggest surprise in the West, and who's your biggest surprise?
Honestly, no bias. I am actually shocked the way Elias Pettersson has played.
No, I'm talking teams.
Oh, teams.
Teams.
Oh, teams. Teams. Eastern Conference. That's tough, Brad. There hasn't been a team that really has really pulled away. You know what I mean?
And I'm not talking pull away. I'm just saying, like, okay, I'm going to give you my East. I'm going to give you my team in the East.
Yeah, I'll go. You go first, and I'll go after you.
My team in the East that's really pleasantly surprised me this year is the Montreal
Maybe the Island.
Canadiens.
Okay, yeah.
I can't say the Islanders. I picked the Islanders to make the playoffs. I have to say Montreal.
Okay, I'm saying Buffalo for the East.
You're not going to give me any credit at all and say the Islanders, huh? I know we got a long ways to go, and they may not make the playoffs, but I think that's a good hockey team, and I think they're going to make the playoffs.
I don't see it, man. I just don't.
Buffalo's been a good surprise, huh?
Who are they going to beat out? They'd have to beat out Montreal or Boston.
Oh, they very well could beat out Montreal. Very, very well.
The Islanders don't have a Carey Price on their team, and that's what's going to hurt them.
Well, what do you mean? Well, they're not even in that division, though. I mean,
yeah, but they're
going to have to get a wild.
They're not getting exactly. They're not getting a top 3.
No, they're not getting a top 3.
And I still, I don't know.
You know, you had mentioned Florida. You know.
Yeah,
Blake. Florida is 9 points out of a wild card spot.
No, I get that. They got a long ways to go.
9 points. Do you know what kind of run you have to go on to get 9 points back?
Yeah, I get that. I said Luongo's got to play well and get hot, but I mean they got some pieces up. They play well as a team too. That's
okay.
What I really
in the Christmas spirit, I'll let you off the hook there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now let's look at the West. What's your surprise team in the West?
So I'm gonna say Anaheim because I thought they'd take a step back this year. I had them well out of the playoffs this year, and you know they've had some guys step up. They've been without they're gonna get Corey Perry back, and that's like getting a free player at the deadline. You know what I mean? You know they're getting another player back that they haven't had all season long, right? So I don't know.
I'm surprised that Colorado's been as consistently good as they have been.
I think they're
a good hockey team, but they've been a lot more consistent than I thought they would be.
They have the best line in hockey. Of course, they're going to be relevant.
You know who else has surprised me? And I know they're not in a playoff spot now, and I don't think they will be. But the fact that Vancouver's not down at the bottom is quite the credit to that team.
I mean, that's the Elias Pettersson effect, and the fact and Jake Virtanen's finally coming around. He's got a career high 11 goals, and it's not even Christmas, so he's well on his way to score 20 goals this year. I was looking at it. There's a funny fact. I was reading on NHL stats on Twitter, and Michael Del Zotto played in all 12 of those losses in the 14 games. In the last 8, he's been a healthy scratch, and they've won 6 of them and picked up points in 7 of 8. So, I mean, I think Travis Green has done a great job, and the addition of Josh Leivo, he's got 7 points as a Canuck. He's got 4 goals. He's getting a chance to play with Pettersson and Brock Besser. So, you know, Travis Green's pushing the right buttons. Markstrom's hot right now, and yeah, if they can keep going, I have them in a playoff spot 2 weeks ago at Thanksgiving. So, we'll see.
I think you're crazy, but
we'll see.
But the team's been very good.
Mm-hmm.
World Juniors are set to start here in just a couple days, and with you being from Canada and me being from the U.S., is it time for a side bet between us?
I think we might have to because I don't think there's any team that's going to touch Canada this year.
I know, but you guys say that every year.
No, well, we should win every year. We're that good.
So what? Let's
win every year.
Let's put your money where your mouth is. What do we bet down this fun tournament? I like watching the World Juniors, and let's. But
it's not even a big deal in the U.S. You know what I mean? Like it's really not. It's
not a big deal in most of the other countries either.
Yeah,
Canada's the only one that makes it a big deal, and I'm not joking, and I'm not discrediting them for doing that. I think it's a great tournament.
Mm-hmm.
I do, and there's a strong core in the U.S. that follows it very closely. Believe me.
Yeah.
Believe me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But the masses in the States aren't going to follow it. There's NFL playoff football 2 weeks away. There's, bowl season's going on right now. They're college football. I mean, I'm sorry, it's not going to take top press in the U.S. unless we're playing in the finals.
Yeah, and you guys are in the other pool this year, so you guys could meet up with Canada in the gold medal game unless somebody crosses over, which I don't see that happening. But the U.S. has got some good pieces. They got the Hughes brothers up front. They got Tyler Madden up front. So yeah, they should be all right. But
I got the bet.
What's the bet?
Canada wins. I take you out for wings after we record a show, and U.S. wins. You take me out for wings after a show.
Yeah, we could. Well, what happens if nobody wins? Then it's nothing, right?
Then we don't have to do nothing.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll take that. I'll take that bet.
Okay.
Sounds good to me. Buffalo Wild Wings or wings and rings? What do you want?
Let's go wings and rings.
Wings and rings it is. It's free wings for me. Easy money. Let's go. We got a good team.
It is Christmas time, Blake, and I know you're back home in Canada, traveling, going to some hockey games and visiting family. What's on your Christmas agendas?
Oh yeah, I think I'm just gonna spend some time with. We're gonna have my grandma. We're gonna go to my grandma's tomorrow, and she's gonna cook some supper tomorrow, and then we're gonna probably just relax. My sister's still in Alberta. She actually, unfortunately, can't come back to Saskatchewan because she works. So we're gonna go to Alberta and visit her. So we're gonna go up to Calgary on Boxing Day and probably come back on probably the 30th or 31st. So it should be fun.
We hope you have a great holiday season. I'm going to be spending time with my family here back in the States and taking a little time off and relaxing and enjoying that family time. We will be recording a show towards the latter part of next week. Talk a little bit about New Year's resolutions for teams and things like that and have a little fun with that. But
sure.
We wish everybody a great holiday season, and we'll fire off 3 questions next. You're a hockey fan and you love your team and its players. At CoolHockey.com, they get that. That's why they offer high-quality NHL jerseys at competitive prices. They've been in business since 1999, customizing jerseys to NHL specs and to give you the quality work you will not find anywhere else. Cool Hockey is the #1 place to get NHL jerseys with shipping available to any country in the world. Head to CoolHockey.com now and use promo code INSIDE20 for 20% off your next jersey purchase.
It's time for 3 questions.
It is time for one of my favorite portions of the show, Blake, and that's a segment we call 3 questions. We rotate weeks on asking each other 3 questions, and it's your turn this week to fire away with 3 questions to me.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, question number 1. I heard this on another podcast, and I wanted to get your opinion on it. If you were a head coach and the opposing team got called for a double minor, and you had the choice for a 2-minute 5-on-3 or a 4-minute 5-on-4, what would you choose and why?
Okay, so I have the choice of a 2-minute 5-on-3.
Yep.
Or a 4-minute 5-on-4.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a little bit of it would be determined maybe on the team you're playing.
Mm-hmm.
In the fact that if they have a deep 2 units of penalty kill, if they only had 1 strong unit of penalty kill, I might take the 5-on-4 for 4 minutes and see if I can't wear them out. Now, it also would depend on what the score of the game was.
Mm-hmm.
If I had a 2-goal lead, I may take the 5-on-4 for 4 minutes because I'm a man up for a longer period of time.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
If I'm looking for a straight goal and I have a talented offensive team, I think my odds of scoring are better on a 5-on-3.
To me,
2 minutes.
I'm taking the 5-on-3 every time.
Yeah.
I like the aggressiveness of that. I think it's a really creative way of thinking, to be honest. And I really just like that question. Question number 2. We kind of talked about this in the first season about franchise players and how much franchise players there are in the NHL. To you, Brad, what defines a franchise player in your mind? Because you could say, oh, Marner's a franchise player. You could say Pettersson's a franchise player. You could say there's a lot of potential franchise players. But is it franchise player to, because what if Mitch Marner was on a team like the Arizona Coyotes? Is he a franchise player for the Coyotes?
Here's what I think it is determined by: what kind of a contract he signs. Jonathan Toews signs a 10-year deal. He's a franchise player.
Mm-hmm. So is Patty Kane.
Yep. Is there a rule you can't have more than one franchise player? I don't know. Minnesota's got Parise and Suter. They signed the big long-termers.
Minnesota's got one. I don't think Parise's a franchise player, but I think Suter is for sure.
Gave him tons of money for 10 years. I'm just saying, I think it's dictated by the term of their contract. Sadly, it should just be on
the way they play and how much they mean to the team.
But it doesn't necessarily mean that, because for right now, for example, until, I don't know why this guy keeps coming to my mind, but until Matthew Tkachuk signs a long-term deal in
you think Matthew Tkachuk's a franchise player?
I don't know. I still think Sean Monahan stirs the pot in Calgary. Okay, here's a question. Is Brock Besser a franchise player? If he signs for 8 years with Vancouver this summer at $10.25 million a year, is he Vancouver's franchise player?
No, he's an elite player. I think Pettersson's a franchise player right now.
Well, you can't say that until he's signed.
I hate to say it, dude. Pettersson's contract's due up in 2 years. With the cap going up the way it is, I wouldn't be surprised if he's getting $13 million.
He might, but what if he doesn't want to play in Vancouver? I'm just saying, you've got to sign the term to be the franchise guy. Is he the best, most exciting player that Vancouver has right now? Absolutely. But until Austin Matthews signs that long-term deal in Toronto, is he the franchise player in Toronto? No, right now John Tavares is a franchise player in Toronto, and I also believe John Tavares should be the captain in Toronto.
Yeah, no, I agree. I didn't even give the captain to Morgan Riley. That's a little off topic, though. We can touch on that next week, baby. Final question for you, Brad. Alex Ovechkin currently has 29 goals in 34 games and is on pace for well over 60 goals this season. He's at 636 goals right now. Does he have a shot to break Wayne Gretzky's record at 854? He doesn't look like he's slowing down anytime soon at age 33.
So let's say he plays
7 years, okay?
5 more years at...
Let's say he plays 7 years, and this year he gets 60 goals, and next year he gets 50. That's 111 goals.
I don't think he does it. I still don't.
You don't think so?
No, I don't.
Oh, man, I don't.
I
think he's
league
at least 40. But here's the thing.
I don't know. He's not going to be scoring at that pace at 39.
Goalies haven't figured him out yet.
I know.
He's still blowing pucks by goalies at age 33.
I am not trying to disrespect him at all by saying that. For me to say that someone's not going to make Gretzky's record doesn't mean by any means that he sucks. Yeah. I mean, that is quite a record to get even remotely close to. And he has that chance of getting it. I just don't personally think he'll happen.
I think it'd be great for the league. I think it'd be great for the league, because those are records that people thought nobody would touch, right? 800 plus goals, like obviously his single season goals records aren't going to be touched at 92 in a season. Like that's never going to be touched. But I don't know. People. I think it's less far fetched than what people think. I don't know.
You got more than 3 questions for me? You want to keep going?
Well, another thing I was going to ask.
I like answering questions.
Hold on, I got another question for you. Okay, I got a question for you. How many points do you think Wayne Gretzky would have more points or less points in this era?
Less.
Well, like by how much though? Obviously, he's not going to put up 200 points, but
20% less.
So, do you think he'd have more than McDavid if they play in the same era?
I don't know. That's a tough question. I think things were different back in the 80s. When I watched games in the 80s, there was a lot of 5-4 games and a lot more offense. If you watch the goaltending, it was a stand-up style goaltending. It was easy. It was easier to score, and that's not knocking Gretzky's accomplishments or hell, any of the accomplishments of those players in the 80s and early 90s.
I actually got another question for you.
It's just a different style of game now. It just
one more question, then we'll wrap up.
I got a listener question too. So
okay, why is it not a minus for a player if a goal is scored while they're on the penalty kill, but the goal counts towards the goaltender's goals against average?
God. Well, number one, because the team's shorthanded.
I don't understand that though.
Well, we can't penalize players who are on the penalty kill. It's just that's not fair. The plus minus stat was designed to determine a player's offensive and defensive capabilities during even strength hockey. That's why it was determined. Why should a goaltender get the short end of the stick even though they're short-handed? I don't have a good answer for that, except for that goalie numbers are too high the way it is. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, we'll fire off this listener question.
Okay, we do have a listener question. Again, we encourage listener responses. Tweet us, email us, Facebook us, whatever you want to do to get a hold of us. Tell us what you're thinking and what questions you have for us. We have great T-shirts we like to send out to our listeners who ask us questions and then have their questions answered on the air. And we have a question, and we're going to stay on the Philadelphia Flyers as the topic. This comes from Bob at Rideout in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Sent via Facebook, and when I saw it was from Billy, I thought, oh boy, especially when I saw the question. But this guy's got his stuff together, and he knows exactly what he's talking about in his response. But should the Philadelphia Flyers defenseman Ivan Provorov have been suspended for pushing the official on Thursday night?
Yes, probably.
I couldn't agree more. In Major League Baseball, if you touch an ump, in NFL, if you touch an ump, and in the NBA, if you touch an official, it is no questions asked. Done.
That's a match penalty. No, that could be a 10-game suspension for an abuse of an official.
It is, yeah. And you know what? And if you read in the NHL rule books, there is no discretion there.
But I think it's an automatic 10-gamer.
But I got clarification on this, and I didn't actually seek it out. I got it through another source. The reason he wasn't assessed is the league lets the official dictate whether he thought it was abusive or not. And the official in this case said that it was acceptable and wasn't going to pursue further recourse on it. I don't think
you should be able to touch any official. It doesn't matter if you think it's good or bad. You know, I just don't think players shouldn't be able to touch officials.
The official flat out let him off the hook.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I don't
flat out let him off the hook. I think there should be an automatic suspension for that, hands down. And I don't care who the player is or what the circumstances.
If Connor McDavid pushes the ref, he needs to be suspended. Like it doesn't matter.
And you know what, Blake? me and you both feel the same on this. And our listener, Bob, from Philly, who is a Flyers fan, said that he flat out got away with this and he should have been suspended too. There's a logical Philadelphia Flyers fan out there.
Wow, that's very rare. No offense.
I love Philadelphia's passion. I really do. I wish more teams had a passionate fan base. I just wish their fans were a little bit more civilized sometimes.
Yeah.
But you know what? Well, you know what? We could probably say that about every market at certain points.
Yep. Agreed.
All right. Good show. Hopefully our listeners enjoyed it. We hope everybody has a very, very Merry Christmas. Spend time with your family. Enjoy those family moments. We'll be back next week with another show. Again, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next week.
NHL news, opinions, and controversy.
Thanks for listening to the Debate Hockey Podcast. Check out InsideEdgeHockeyNews.com for all your hockey news. Follow us on all forms of social media, and make sure you download the debate on your favorite podcatcher. Check us out on Spreaker, SoundCloud, iTunes, iHeart, and YouTube. A special thanks goes out to our sponsor, CoolHockey.com. Make sure you check out their website, use promo code INSIDE20, and save 20% off your next jersey purchase. Thanks for listening, and we hope you enjoy this week's hockey action.
Couturier, the sweep set up. Gibson robs Tierney. Saving the game.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Debate Hockey Podcast with your host, Brad Burud. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit InsideEdgeHockeyNews.com and on Twitter at InsideEdgeHOCKE and Facebook at Inside Edge Hockey News. We'll catch you next time.
This has been a production of Inside Edge Hockey News Radio, copyrighted and distributed by the Inside Edge Hockey Media Group.